It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Welcome to Confidence in Bloom, where bold women rise, shine, and own their power. We all face that pesky inner critic, what I call the itty-bitty shitty committee, whispering self-sabotaging doubts and untrue trash talk that holds us back. But here, we don't let that noise win. This season, we're celebrating the season of shift, women on the edge of reinvention. It's for every woman standing at the crossroads, ready to rewrite her story, recognize her spark, and rise into the next version of herself. This is a space to honor the fierce, fabulous women who've broken free from fear, crushed limiting beliefs, and stepped into their full, unstoppable selves. Because let's be real, the most powerful thing any woman can wear is her confidence. I'm Tina Spoletini, your host with the Divas That Care Network, bringing you real stories from women who reclaimed their voice, embraced their worth, and are lighting the way for all of us. Ready to bloom into your next chapter? Let's dive in. Today, I'm joined with Rosemary, an intuitive life mastery mentor, certified professional coach, hand analyst, and laughter yoga leader. After more than 31 years as a professor of early childhood education, Rosemary now empowers women to align their businesses with their soul purpose, embrace their authenticity, and step boldly into reinvention with passion and prosperity. Welcome, Rosemary.
Thank you, Tina. It's great to see you again.
Thank you. Yes, you too. So this season, we are talking all about change and reinvention. When you hear that, like, what does the being on the edge of reinvention mean to you personally?
I guess it's about maybe we spend so much of the early part of our lives trying to fit in and make our way through the world with what we're taught we should be like. And then as we mature, we kind of start questioning, this doesn't feel completely right to me, or what about this part of me that I wasn't allowed to express or whatever. And so we start moving more into who our authentic self really is. And I would say that's the rejuvenation.
I love that. I really love that answer because
Thank you.
I often say, as we get older, we start to realize that that's not who we are. Right. And even though we still believe that that's who we're supposed to be. Right. Because if that's what we were taught, that's what we're supposed to be doing.
Sure.
Right. So, but then, of course, life is different for every generation. And so what our moms went through, it's different for us, even though I know my mom will often say, oh, life is so different today. And yes, it is very different today, but it's also the same. Right. Like people are still people. Right? We have different resources. Yes. Right. We have different things that keep our minds busy. But I think, in my opinion, I guess, I think we're still the same.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Basically, we are human beings at the core, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I don't think that sure, our styles change and our, everything that we're learning is different, but we're still at the core of us, we're still the same as they were hundreds of years ago, right? We just have more. We have so much more to work with. Now, you specialize in hand analysis. I think that this is super, super intriguing. So I'm going to ask you a few questions about that, but let's start.
Okay.
How does having your soul purpose validated through a hand reading spark courage and inspire someone to truly pursue what they desire?
Okay, that's such a great question. So this is my own personal experience, and what I've seen from many of the clients that I've worked with is when you get your hands analyzed, you find out what your soul purpose or your life purpose is supposed to be. And that is the essence of who you are. And just like we were talking about with the rejuvenation, it's not always what we were encouraged to be like. So for my own personal example, I was always very emotional and I would easily get touched by things and be moved. And I grew up in a family where I was told I was too emotional, but I wasn't given an alternative to what that would be or how to maybe temper it so that it became more acceptable in my parents' views. It was just a label. Oh, you're too emotional. You're too emotional. Well, that didn't do me any good, right? And so I struggled for many years, went into college teaching, which is pretty much academia, and how do I balance between what my heart is calling to me and what my head is calling to me? And I struggled with that for a long time. But my core interest had always been what makes people tick? Why do we do what we do? How do we become who we are and whatever? And when I studied to be a life coach back in 2002, a few years later, I got my hands analyzed. A friend who was in the coaching program said, if you get your hands analyzed, you'll know who your target market should be for your coaching business. And that was the reason why I got my hands analyzed. So the lady who did it lived in Tucson. I had never met her before. She sent me a kit to print my hands. And when she did my reading with me, I couldn't believe how accurate it was. And what it said was, she called it the healer with heart. It can also be called a master communicator, which was certainly what I was doing in being a teacher. However, my calling had always been to work with people on a more emotional level. And so it was like, okay, my heart's been calling me in that direction. I had taken social sciences, I had studied social work. It's time now at 58, I was at that point. I need to go and really try and build my business as a coach. So
Wow.
I gave myself the next year because it was too late in the year to decide to go that same year. I gave myself one more year of teaching and then left to go and do my coaching. And another client I have that has a different story, but a similar nature. She was raised in a family where she was taught you need to get skills, a trade, something concrete to make your way in the world, to have as your job for the rest of your life. And she was a very creative person, and she did what she was told, fought her parents to go into dental hygiene because she was going to university for it, but it was still a skilled trade, kind of a skilled profession, really. And when she got her hands analyzed, she found out that her life purpose was to be creative. Well, she's a very, very talented fused glass artist. And that gave her the courage to do more with her fused glass, to know as she went into that that was really what her soul had been calling her to do. And then subsequently, she made peace with that dental hygiene aspect of her life because fused glass is a very expensive hobby or business. And so she made peace with that she could work part-time in hygiene to gain the money she needed to be able to make her beautiful fused glass art. So there's a couple, and I have many more, but I think two is probably enough to
Yeah.
really show you how it can help you be who you really are.
Yeah, for sure. And it just goes to show, right? Like where there's a will, there's a way,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if you're really meant to do something, somehow you're gonna find a way to do that. I
Or
love that.
it'll crush your spirit.
Yeah.
That's what ends up happening if we
Yeah.
don't do it, if we don't do something. And it doesn't have to be your job. It just is, it can be. Just bring more of who you really came here to be out in your life.
Right. Right. Wow. I mean, we could talk about that about for so long, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many questions that could come along with that, right?
Sure.
Wow. Well, many women struggle with showing up authentically in life and in business, as you say. Why do you believe being your authentic self is a major attractor? I mean, we need to be that. We need to be who we truly are, whether it's in life or in business. Why
Mm-hmm.
do you think that is so important?
Well, first of all, I believe that our outer world is a mirror of our inner world. So the more that we are authentic, the more we're drawing people to us who resonate with that authenticity. If we try to be something we're not to get ahead, or to be a people pleaser in personal life, or whatever way we're not being authentic, we're going to be attracting people to us that are showing up as our inauthentic self, and they're not a match. We won't
Right.
resonate with one another, or we will, but there will be drama and stuff happening that doesn't happen as frequently when
Right.
we're really being authentic. And I believe that it only takes a matter of time before people start to see through our facades. And so if we're saying we're one thing and behaving differently, but say building a business on an image that's not how we really feel inside, people will see it, and or what will happen is we're going to create drama because the world's going to show us what we need in order to drop that facade and become our authentic selves.
Right. Isn't that the truth? And also too, and we all know people that are not living their authentic selves. And
Yep, and
eventually,
definitely been guilty of that myself too. I'm not
right?
trying
I
to
mean, I
say
think
I'm
so. Like, I
perfect.
think, yes, I think we've all been there, right?
Yeah.
And then, but we also start to realize that, those are the people we don't want around us.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It might attract you at the beginning, but when you start to realize that how can this be real? How can this person really be this way? We start to pull ourselves away, right? And if
Yeah,
we're doing that, the rest of the world is going to do that,
sure.
right? And I know myself, I want real people in my world, right? I don't need fake and phony and pretenders. I want the real thing,
Sure.
right?
And I think
Yeah.
most of us do.
I think so. At least I like to hope so, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, let's face it, sometimes we have off days and we're definitely not going to be the same, I don't want to say the same person, but we don't have the same behaviors 2 days in a row if we're going through, some emotional stuff or some stuff is going on at home. But at the end of the day, like, the real people,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it can be overwhelming. We all know this, right?
Mm-hmm.
How
Yep.
do, like, as a coach, how do women take everything that they know really about themselves and actually apply it to grow in business and in life?
Well, I honestly believe that we need coaches for that. I really do, because I don't always see my own patterns and how I'm behaving and what I'm doing. But if I share that with you as my coach, you have an objective outlook on it and you can show me where I'm going off track and help me with the wisdom that you have to offer to get on track again and to keep going forward where I really want to go. So we don't know, we often have blind spots to our own um, challenges or our own ways, say, of sabotaging ourselves that an outside person can see and help support us in changing the behaviors that aren't working. And the other thing that a coach can be really helpful for is holding us accountable. If we're not the type of person that is good at doing that for ourselves, we can let a lot of time drift by where we're not taking action on what we think we want, where we think we want to go. So I really believe in the value of coaching.
Yeah, I do agree. My mentor says that, we can't see our label from inside the jar,
Yeah,
right?
that's a good
So,
way to put
right.
it.
And it's true, right? I mean, we sometimes can't see what we need to be doing, right? Sometimes we don't see ourselves for what we, maybe, I don't know if like who we truly are. Sometimes we don't see that, right? I mean,
Yes.
well, no, not sometimes. I think most times,
A lot
right?
of times. Yep.
Yeah.
One of
And
the
that's why
one
we
of the
look,
smartest things I learned, or the wisest things I learned from Debbie Ford and others in the shadow work, is that what we admire in other people are qualities we have in ourselves that we may not know are there. What we point a finger and say, you're this, got the same thing going on inside, but I may not be aware of it. And
right.
so that's one of the ways to know where you want to go. What do I
That's right.
admire? Who do I admire in the world? And what are those qualities? And now I'll bring those up in myself because they are definitely there.
Yeah. And it goes like positive and negative, right? When we, I call it bitch and complain about someone else, it's because we see ourselves in that behavior, right?
Yes.
And that's why it grates on our nerves, right? Because it's
Yep.
like, how can you not be perfect, right? You need to set a good example for me. I mean, I
Well,
don't know. It's not always that dramatic, but it can be, right?
it can be, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So when you look back, Rosemary, at your own transition from professor to mentor, that is a huge change, right? What was the biggest challenge that you faced stepping into your own next chapter?
Well, somebody said this recently, and it's totally true for me. I had over 30 years as an employee, and now I have to be an entrepreneur to build my business. I don't have the skills that I need. And so I have worked with different mentors throughout the last 15, 17 years. I've worked with different programs to try to shift and get what I need, but I haven't always been able to find the right mentors for me for that business part. So that's been my biggest challenge. How do I take the skills and get myself marketed enough that the people who could benefit from my services can find me?
Right, right. And it's not easy, right? You have to know the right people. And so I'm like, you need to keep your network close, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what that comes down to, right? You might not find the person you need in the person beside you, but that person might know. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I
Yeah,
love
and you
that.
have to be willing to say, okay, this person I've chosen isn't the right person for me. I need to keep searching and not feel like, oh, I can't do it. I'm a failure. Well, I don't think that's true. I think there's other things that get in the way, one of them being the spells that we have around being safe and asking for what we want in the world and things like that. But the other being finding a mentor in business who is somebody you resonate with and that you can implement what they teach you because it's in alignment with who you are.
Right. Great answer. I love that answer. So for the women that are listening, that are feeling stuck or uncertain right now, what's the first step that you would suggest that they take to align with their deep purpose?
I'd sit down and make a list of all the things that your heart's been calling you to do. What have you really secretly or not so secretly always wanted to do? And look for a pattern in there. And if it's something related to a job, find out what you might do to get into that kind of occupation. And if it's something more personal, how do I become more of that person that I want to be? So I would say one of the biggest lessons that I've ever learned is when something I don't like happens, instead of feeling like a victim, if I ask, how is it for me? It helps me to see, oh, what do I need to do to take advantage of this? Maybe it's a lesson I've learned. Maybe it's brought up um, a spell that I have around a certain area that's keeping me from being able to have what I really want in life. But looking for that deep interpersonal, intrapersonal, um, how can I become more of who I really want to be? And being able to love yourself enough to be true to yourself, because what I want to be as a person may not be what some of the people around me think is best for me. And I have to be willing to pursue it anyway.
Ooh, that's where the self-love comes in, right?
Yes.
Like that's going to be the hard part, right? That's, yeah, I can go after what I want, but how is everyone else going to react to that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, in life coaching, we deal with that like a lot, right? What is your advice? We can't give advice, but I mean, what do you tell your clients when that comes up, right? Like, how do you walk them through that? Because that's tough.
I guess I have to really transfer my belief in their ability to be that or do that to them as best I possibly can. For them to know I've got their back, at least in terms of emotional support, because I may not physically be there to help them out, but at least they know they've got somebody who believes in them, and that can help them help support them as they go through the experiences. And then as we go through them, we start to develop the courage we need to keep on going through them.
Right.
And they start to fall away. The more true to ourselves we are, the less likely the people around us are going to be fussing, because they aren't going to want to be around us, and we will find the people who do.
Right. Right. It's so true. And I think we just need to sit back and accept that, right? Accept that we might lose the people that we thought were our friends.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. We see those memes on Facebook all the time, right? You know who your true friends are, right? When things go rough, who's really around?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So now you have talked about in a little bit in this conversation, but also in conversations that I've had with you in the past about passion, purpose, prosperity. What does that look like in practice? And how can women learn to, I guess, embody it now?
Well, I think the passion comes from that true conviction of being who you are and doing what you want to do. And I mean that in the most non-selfish way, selfish in the bad sense of selfish way. It's not like I'm going to stomp all over someone else to do it, but I'm not going to let other people's disapproval stop me. And the more that I'm doing that, the more I'm fueled by how much happier I am, how much more I'm able to serve others with what I have to offer them. And then that I believe that results often in a greater flow of money coming back to you, because people will they're going to be more likely to choose you when they can see you as you really are. They will know that you're the one for them, as opposed to attracting people who may think that they want to work with you, but then when they realize that you're not a match, then they want to walk away from the relationship you have with them, whether that's as a coach or mentor or whatever your relation, whatever your business is. Mm-hmm.
That is very true. And I could see that, right? I mean, you have to be true to yourself before you can be true to anyone else.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. Or like it goes with anything. If you can't love yourself, you can't teach others how to love you. Right? Yeah. And respect and all all the things that you need to give yourself first before someone else can give it to you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And unfortunately, like we said at the beginning, right? It takes us years to figure that out. Right?
Hopefully some of the younger generation will get it faster. Some of them seem to be pretty advanced compared to what I was as a child.
Right. It's so true. I remember saying to my kids, when they were little, if you don't respect yourself, no one else will. And you have to teach others how you want to be loved. And I don't even know where I learned that, in all honesty, but I remember saying that to them. And my daughter has struggled with that because she is like, she defines people pleaser. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I think, so I was trying to teach you something that you were not understanding. And then I think, well, maybe that's what I taught her. Right. Because we learn from, but then I'm like, I don't think, sure, I was a people pleaser to some degree. I know that. Right. But not 100%. I did
Mhm.
sort of look back and go, no, I don't think that's going to work for me. So I'm going to have to refuse. Maybe not to the important things that she was watching. I don't know. I can't figure that part out. But I mean, that's what it all comes down to. Am I right? Like if we have to know what we want in order to
Mhm.
give ourselves what we want and need.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Very true. I'll tell you, Tina, I spent probably 50 odd years trying to get love from other people, not realizing that love comes from within, and that if they walk away, I could still be in love with myself and have that loving feeling. I didn't need to get it somewhere else, but it took me a long time to learn that
Yeah.
lesson.
There's so many things that I've learned in the last, I don't know, 5 or 10 years that, wow. And it's at the tip of your fingertips. It's not your phone, right? We have
Yeah.
it all within us, right? But we're always looking outside for the answers. Yeah, I've learned that. And it's been a little bit of the hard way, I'll be honest, right? Because sometimes, I was told, you know, a coach asked me a question once and I'm like, I don't know. And she was like, really, Tina? Like, think about it. Right. But I wouldn't take that second to go inside and think about it. Right. And I was like,
Right.
she's crazy. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't know me. Right. First sign, right? First sign that,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, look
Yeah.
inside
Yeah.
because the answer is there.
For sure.
Yeah.
For
Now
sure.
you do skin, finger. Okay. What do we call it? Hand analysis.
Hand analysis,
So
yes.
maybe explain to us what that is. And I know
Okay,
you have an offer for that.
right. So I do two types of readings. One is the fingerprints only. So your fingerprints are formed when you're in the womb, and they will tell me what your life purpose or your soul purpose is, the school that you're in this lifetime, and that's love, peace, service, or wisdom. And your school, while the purpose is the essence of who you are, your school is like the school that you go to. You are going to have lots and lots of experiences to gain mastery in that particular school or schools. And then your fingerprints will also reveal the biggest challenge that you have to work on in order to be able to fulfill your life purpose. The rest of our hand is a map of our personality. So this is formed in the womb, never changes. The rest of our hand is a reflection of our personality. How do I think and feel and act or don't act? Where do I spend my energy? All of that shows up in your hands based on whether your lines are curved or flat, whether they're long or short, the shape of your hand, the section sizes of your fingers. So, and there are 16 gift markers. One is found on the baby fingertip, but the other 15 are all on the palm. So, if you have a gift, the gifts unfortunately come with a penalty, and the penalty won't go away until you use the gift. So, if you have an experience where you're, say, going around in circles, getting nowhere, there can be a gift marker on your hand that will say, oh, you need to be doing XYZ. And if you do XYZ, that spinning in circles will stop. So that can all be revealed in a full hand analysis reading. If I do the fingerprints only, it's $49. And if I do the whole hand, it's $149. And with the whole hand, well, given that our audience is going to be at a distance, everybody's going to get a written report. But the whole hand report will take me quite a bit of time to delve into anything that I can possibly find on the hands. And then I type it all up and send it to people. So you've got something you can use forever.
Wow. So now, okay. So tell me, is this the same thing as going to a psychic and having your palms read?
No, I don't do any predictions at all. I always make a joke and I say the one prediction I can make is if you keep on doing what you've always been doing, you're going to get the same results. That's it.
And I mean, that just
Yeah,
defines crazy
I
anyway,
know.
right?
I
Like
know.
we're all
Yeah,
running in a circle. Okay. So
yeah.
this is great to know. Thank you so much for that. And we have your contact information in the show notes. We will also put your offer in the notes as well for anyone who is, interested. Is there anything else that you would like our listeners to hear from you today?
Just, whatever your heart's calling you to do, whatever you really feel you want to accomplish in this lifetime, go for it. Get the help of somebody that can support you along the way. It definitely doesn't need to be me, because everybody won't resonate with me, but you will be able to find somebody that could be your coach and help you to bring out what you really want to do. And don't let your lifetime pass away without you fulfilling what you really want to do.
I love that. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for joining me today.
You're welcome, Tina. Thanks so much for having me. It was great to talk to you.
Yes, it always is. Thank you so much for listening to Confidence in Bloom, where we celebrate the amazing, brilliant, and beautiful woman you already are. This season of shift is your invitation to rise, reinvent, and reconnect with the woman you're becoming. You don't need to look like a movie star or a supermodel, because they don't even look like that. You are already enough, worthy of love, success, and a life that feels as good as it looks. We give so much love to everyone else. It's time to pour some of that love back into you. If you're ready to reclaim your confidence and step into your chapter, I'm offering personalized coaching, 3 focused sessions to help you build unshakable confidence, define your personal brand, and create a signature style that reflects who you truly are. Because she comes in every shape and size, and reinvention has no expiration date. Want to be a guest here on Confidence in Bloom? Let's connect. Find me on Instagram at infobloomstyling, email tina@infobloomstyling.com, or visit the Divas That Care Network website. Until next time, keep blooming boldly and confidently.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.